Have you ever wondered why some Americans make fun of the Indian accent? Or why Indian speakers sometimes get trolled online just because how they speak English? Just like I do. Well, this isn't just about jokes or comedy. It's actually a mix of psychology, media influence, and misunderstanding. Indian English sounds very different because India has hundreds of other languages and dialects, and that affects how people actually speak English. So, there is no single Indian accent. What people called an Indian accent is actually many different ways of speaking, shaped by native languages like Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Bengali, and others. But in American culture, this rich variety is often reduced to just one stereotyped accent, usually the one linked with call centers or characters like Apu from Simpsons. Many Americans find the Indian accent really hard to understand at first, and studies back this up. A famous study from the University of Chicago showed that people tend to trust voices with accents less, even if they are saying something that is actually true. It's not just because the accent is bad, but because the brain has to work a little harder to understand something that is unfamiliar. Now, that makes people feel unsure or impatient, even if they don't realize it. In fact, in 2018 survey, Americans ranked the Indian accent as the most annoying, even though Indian Americans are most successful groups in the US with a median household income of over $119,000. Let me tell you, much higher than any American over there. So the question is, why the hate and the jokes? Well, a lot of it comes from the media. For years, Indian characters in American shows were played by non-Indian actors using fake, over-the-top accent meant to be very funny. The best example is Apu from Simpsons, who became a symbol of this kind of mockery. There are also countless prank videos online where people pretend to talk like Indian call centers and make fun of their voices. Well, these kind of jokes build a fake link in people's mind between Indian voices and scams, even though scams happen in many countries. In the workplace, accent bias becomes a very serious problem. Even though many Indians in the US are highly educated and skilled, about 60% of them say that they have faced some kind of discrimination because of their accent. Some feel that they have to change the way they speak just to be accepted. Yet, top companies like Google, Microsoft, Adobe, or IBM are all led by Indian origin CEOs, many of whom speak with an Indian accent. This shows that the accent does not stop people from being intelligent, intellectual, successful, or respected, unless others who choose to mistreat them. Now, the reason Indian English sounds very different comes down to pronunciation. For example, Indian English is often more flat or rhythmic, just like this one, because of the way that native languages are spoken here. Words are pronounced with different stress or timing. There are also some sounds like the rolled R or curled T and D. Now that comes from Indian languages and not just used in American English. But these are not the mistakes. They are just different style of speaking English. So when Americans actually troll or mock the Indian accent, it's not really about how clear or correct the English is. It's more about how different it sounds and how people react to that particular difference. Sadly, this often turns into bias, jokes, or even discrimination. The truth is, there's nothing wrong with the Indian accent. The problem lies in the listener's attitude and the media stereotypes that shape those attitudes. If you want a more fair or open world, we need to stop judging people based on how they sound. English is a global language, and just like music, it has more styles, and the Indian accent is just one of them. It deserves respect and not mockery.